Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are around this beautiful planet of ours. Don't mind the beach hair today. Got out to the beach. Afternoons are hot. This is the time to do the analysis, getting into Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrencies, looking at specifically the breakout trap, updating that, how much time is left in the run-up, how much gain is left in the run-up for Bitcoin, ETH, and cryptocurrencies. We use that to look at our risk and reward, whether it's safe to get in or not. ETH analysis, obviously the update, and there's the crypto. So I'll mention as well why I am watching these particular patterns and tools for my macro trading. So first up, smash up the likes. This is the title that first came to my head. The weekly close is falling short. I want to do the weekly updates here on the channel, so make sure you smash likes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay up to date with the content. This will be a nice short video. We all got stuff to do. We all got to get back to the beach, okay? While the market is basically not going anywhere. Bitcoin on the weekly, we had a closing price, a high closing, which is nice to see, 24,300, but has since basically just punched up over the last 12 or so hours at $25,200, and now it's fallen back down to 24. So it's only half a day into this new week. The daily is sitting a little lower than we would like. There's a few spinning tops here in a row. So that sort of gets me a little bit worried, especially if we start to close below this yellow line here around 23.8. That was the peak back in July 19th. We had another spinning top go a little higher. Call it whatever you want, dragonfly, whatever it is, right? The point is, whenever you see these sorts of candles, we tend to get a little bit of a rundown after that point. Could be long, could be short. We'll wait and see, but it is definitely starting to find a lot of resistance at the bodies of the candle around 24.4, so 24,400. Our 50% level, you can see here on the weekly, is definitely having quite a few tests. We got close to it on 25th of July, week of 25th of July, at a peak of 24,675. We also got close to it a week that just closed, 25,000. And this current week, obviously, we still have 6.5 days to go. So 25 is becoming a bit of a resistance level, and I think that has a lot to do with a lot of the previous data that is on Bitcoin. Of course, that week on May, low of 25,365. So the market is really trying to test that level, but it is holding up slightly. This is why we've got this slow grind happening at the moment. So to the daily, provided we close above this level around 23,800, I think we've still got some short-term hope. Otherwise, it'll just take a little bit longer to rebuild the pattern to go on the breakout move. So if we come under, we'll have this next zone below. If we go a lower top and then break down again, it's just going to prolong the amount of time that is needed to build up another campaign and then test those higher prices. So if we hold up above these levels, it should be a quicker move to the top. If we break down and hold above this particular support zone that I've circled here, then it's just going to take a little bit longer, and so on. You get the idea. If we break back down to our 50% level, it's still in a bullish pattern overall, but it's just going to take a little bit longer to get back to those tops. So the other pieces we've got here are falling short. This is my Wyckoff bullish flip price, 26,900. In a previous video, I explained why this was so important, this bar right here, looking at the high volume and the breakdown of the structure. So for now, Bitcoin is still falling short on the weekly. We've got to overcome $25,000. Is the breakout trap out of question yet? No, it's still there. Remember, weekly is a macro view of Bitcoin. And I think while we're still above the levels of about 19,000 to 21,000, we still have that chance to come through, give it a couple of weeks off, and then break out to the upside. In terms of the time for Bitcoin, I've just noted the number of weeks on the run up. We are in our 9th week up now. We've done 9 weeks before with a few swings in between before we plummeted. And in between those 9 weeks, we've done a 4-week up and then a 3-week up as well. So you can see a little bit of a pattern here during this bear market. Basically 4 weeks up, the decline. 9 weeks total, the decline. 3 weeks up, so about your 3-4 weeks, closing in on that month, the decline. Now we're doing that 9 weeks again. So basically 1 month, 2 months, 1 month, 2 months. And we're getting towards the end of that. Will this absolutely capitulate and break down to the 13s or below 10? I honestly don't know, but I am keeping a very close look on time because I want to know whether my trades or anything that I'm looking at to the upside is coming to an expiration. You know, are people starting to get a little bit sick of all of the bullish hopium out there and they lose faith? That is essentially why I keep track of time. As for the gains to the upside, from where we currently are at the peak of 25,200, I've talked a few times about the levels of resistance around 27, 28, and then also about $32,000, $33,000. So to the extreme of that, somewhere around 28% away for Bitcoin, provided it can get past $25,000. So in terms of the timing, if we don't get past that this week or possibly next, I think we'll probably see a bit of a retracement underneath that 50% level. Should we break above it, then potentially we'll still get a retrace, but hopefully it's above the 50%, which puts it in a stronger position. That's the key area that I'm looking out for. Quick recap on the monthly, which I'll do another update for at the end of the month. I love to update these monthlies and the weeklies, so make sure you're subscribed and subscribe to the Investor Accelerator newsletter. Link in the top of the video description. This one's absolutely free. Just go to the website here, free investor newsletter. And this is something we put out once every 2 weeks, looking at crypto, stocks, metals, and real estate, all the stuff that Michael and I are investing in our own portfolios to give you an update of what we see in a macro sense, stuff we can get into in more detail and cover a lot more in that newsletter. The upside to subscribing to this is that you will be on our newsletter list. There are so many scammers out there, and I'll pop an email up here of a scammer. Someone sent this to me. This is absolute scam. Do not fall for these guys that are emailing you from other email addresses. If you want the official one, this is it, and also my Instagram down below. Go across over to there, looking at, I do Q&As, we look at travel, food, and some training as well, but I do a lot of crypto and lifestyle Q&As. Anyway, back to Bitcoin and what I'm looking at here in terms of the monthly. 2 months up, we've seen that already. We're currently in our second month up. In terms of the dollar value, we could still double from where we currently are to get to that same dollar value that Bitcoin has already done and pretty much get in line with a potential overbalance. So I'll be looking somewhere towards around 32,000. That's what I want to see for BTC to start to flip us into that bullish macro picture, the long-term macro. So yeah, 15K from the low to that level brings it around 32K. That's what I'm hopefully looking for over the next few months, probably towards the end of 2022 into early 2023. For now, not looking too bad. It's sort of balancing itself out. We'll cover that again at the end of the month. As for Ethereum, we are starting to roll over a little here. There's going to be some support levels about $100, every $100 on the way down. So just looking at where we are, we're at 1900. You can see here is at 1790, so call it 1800. Then you got more support here at about 1650. Then the lows again at around 15 and 14. So the good news is there are a lot of support levels on the way down. The 50%, the most important one, provided this top stays in, is at 1450. So time looks like it is expiring if we go towards our weekly here. Remember, we're covering around 5 weeks, potentially 6 weeks up. And so we've just seen our 5th week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got the downtrend coming in. We've got the 50% at around 2200. So in terms of a percentage to get us over the line, we're somewhere around sort of 10, 11% to break past all of these overhead resistance levels, which could then flip it really nicely into a macro bullish picture. Just because it's flipped into macro bullish, if it does, doesn't mean that it is confirmed just yet. We need to see a higher low come in next. So, you know, Ethereum going up, breaking these levels, higher low forming, getting above these levels again, and then we can start to think, well, this is in a macro bullish picture, and these lows, should they hold higher lows, then that's a safer entry point for ETH rather than trying to play the dumb game here and just chase after a market that has already pumped. ETH BTC is also starting to run out of a little bit of steam here. It is getting towards the resistance levels of 8%, so 0.08, basically 8% of a Bitcoin. It has hit those before and been rejected. Even when it broke past it in the peak of the bull market, it took a few weeks before it came back down and then plummeted. Now, just a little bit of hopium for anyone that's missed out here and they think they need to transfer all their Bitcoin to ETH. We can go back and look at what happened on these previous pumps. So this is basically if you feel like you've missed out and there's no other chance you're ever going to get back in, look at every time the ETH has pumped up against BTC. In this case, it dumped 92%. If you want to use the lows here, it dumped about 71%, just in case that's some error in the data. It pumped again. The lows down here was down 84% against Bitcoin. It pumped again here, down 56%. It had a small pump here for about 6 or so weeks, down 68%. More recently, it's had a pump up. So this was in the bull market, dumped 33%. And even more recently, after this first pump, it's down total of about 44%. And you can use this run here down about 27%. So if this is the high, what could we expect? Well, let's use the lowest figure, going down 27%. So 27% puts ETH back at about 5.8% of a Bitcoin, back to these highs. So if this is the top at these rejection levels and it falls, the lowest that ETH has ever done is about 27%, give or take. So if we're looking at that, there's still a chance to be switching Bitcoin to ETH at lower prices. Just my analysis, not financial advice, but this is how I'd be playing the market. And at the most extremes, you could go anywhere down 70 or 80%. I'm not saying it will happen, but if you look at it, then there is that potential as well, going past those lows, which I don't think is possible. But even if I used any of these other previous support zones, there's 50% drop. To the 50% level, there's about a 35 or 36% drop. So I'm not getting too overly excited unless Bitcoin breaks the macro resistance here and closes above about 9% of a BTC value. It needs to hold above there as well. And a final look at the entire cryptocurrency market, excluding BTC and ETH. This is my take on what I think is going on here. We had a lot of buy the dip guys back in May. It was just buy the dip, you're a fool, you should have bought the dip. It was that whole narrative. Now we're starting to climb up and there's a lot of rejections, a lot of resistance coming through here. You can see a lot of the swing tops, market keeps falling and it's grinding up really slowly. And I think there's a few people out there who are not going to say it, which is fair enough. They're sort of like, get me out of this. I'm done with crypto. Just get me out at a break even or close to it, who were buying the dip here and then got absolutely freaked out when the market decided to break down from those levels at a approximate sort of 17, 20% from there, depending on how heavy they were in, depending on which cryptos they're in. It could be a lot more, of course. But people don't like to see their money down as soon as they buy, and that freaks them out. So this is one of the reasons I think where it's possible that we're seeing a lot of this slow grind, because it's coming back to test this previous level before the breakdown. Should we get past that, a break above the 480 billion, we're looking not too bad for the entire cryptocurrency space. I'll do a little bit more on this come end of month and next week as well. So make sure you have subscribed, like the content up, check out the newsletter. It's free. It's coming out in the next 48 hours. So make sure you subscribe to that. And of course, go and check out my Instagram, last shill there. Q&As, you got questions, I've got answers. I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done. Peace out.